Hi, so you're aboard Keel, and this is the cockpit, and so we're just going to go through what we've done here. Of course, the most important thing is having a solid binnacle, so we actually designed and had this manufactured. Unfortunately, Lumar didn't do a great job. This is fantastic. It holds the nav pod, it holds the chart plotter, it holds the control for the autopilot, remote for the ICOM radio and AIS, remote for the radio. And we did this a couple years ago and we're thrilled with it. We're able to actually fold the steering wheel away when we don't want it anymore, and then when we do need it, it becomes a steering wheel again. Motor controls, nice little pockets for the winch handles, and the seat, of course, that I'm sitting on is actually something that we created. It's fantastic because the two of us can actually sit down when we want to navigate together, and it's padded and it's comfortable, and there's a backrest. The original one from the Ovni does not quite live up to those levels of comfort. Back here, of course, we have the dinghy, and of course the radar arch with the nice block and tackle that can raise the dinghy. The two of us can do that by hand with no problem. We also decided to put the life raft right back here. It's out of the way, it's out of the water, and it's very accessible if we ever need it. Hopefully we will never need it. What else can I tell you? Well, very early on we also decided that we were going to put in some electric winches. So we put in this electric winch on both sides. There's a sheet winch, and we decided that the controls should be down here, and they can actually be operated by foot or by finger. So that actually comes out very handy. In there you have the hydraulic controls for the rudder and the keel, so we can lift them. As you know, the spec on this boat is we can float in less than 2 feet of water, and we have used that feature many times. We've also, if you look down here, decided that this is the proper place to put our scuba tanks. So the scuba tanks are secured down by the base. It's a very safe place to put them, very convenient. And of course we also, if you want to just flip around over here, we can take a look at the fact that all of our running lines come back to the cockpit. There's only one that doesn't, and it's the topping lift. It's not something we need while we're sailing. We have 3 single line reefing points on our mainsail, and we've used all 3. We also have a staysail, which we control from here, a gennaker, which we can control from here. We can actually furl. It's not installed right now because we're at anchor. And the mainsail is actually on a Facnor ball bearing track, which means that we can raise it and lower it very quickly and very easily. Of course, we upgraded the winches on the cabin top to 44s so that we could actually have a much better time, much easier time raising the mainsail. We also can run the line from here to the electric sheet winch, and that's very useful if Chantal would like to raise me up to the top of the mast, which is not one of my favorite things, but this makes the project a lot easier. So aside from that, we also have a 5-panel modification that we did to our Bimini and Dodger. We can zip on a solar shade, which we did on the starboard side here right now. And we can also, of course, close the panels both on the side panels and on the top, so that we're protected from lots and lots of ocean spray that happens when we're trying to obviously get places that are not downwind. So there you have it. That's the cockpit. First thing you're going to notice is that it's a unique 395. The layout down below has a couple of unique features that you probably will not find on any other boat, not that we're aware of. The first one, and the most important one, is that there is no metal pole here to lift the centerboard. The centerboard on this 395 is actually controlled by hydraulics the same way the rudder is controlled from the stern. The second thing you're going to notice is that on that side of the boat, The starboard is completely different from any other 395 or Ovni that we've ever seen, and that is that you have a huge chart table, which is big enough for computers and charts and charging all of our iDevices. You have a separate shower, which is a completely self-contained shower with its own sink, and you also have a separate toilet. So that's how the entire starboard side of the boat has been used, and I think it's very efficient and very effective. One other little detail, but it's not really that insignificant if you actually had to live with it, is that there is no step at the forward end of the salon, as you find with many or all the 395s that we have seen. And of course, if you look up, I'm not quite 6 feet tall, but even if I was, that would not be an issue because I can just basically touch the ceiling. So there's a lot of headroom. So let's take a look quickly. If you come inside, I'll just walk you around the main salon. What we've done here is we put in a propane sensor because obviously that's a very good safety device with a switch to turn on and off the propane electrically. We have the control for our inverter. It's 1800 watts and extremely useful. Of course, the refrigerator. You have a brand new stove. We replaced it. Well, it's not brand new anymore. It's 2 years old. But it has a broiler, and that to us is something really significant. One of the other modifications we've done is all of the tanks on Alubat are aluminum. Everything is aluminum. And we don't really like the idea of drinking out of an aluminum tank, even though the tank is very clean. So we've actually put in here I'm not going to show you that, it's just boring, but it's actually a 60-liter PVC bladder. So we drink out of that, and of course we can pump the water from here. We also have a foot pump that controls a seawater pump here, a faucet, and this of course is the freshwater faucet. And it's a dual sink. You can see there's another sink underneath, which is very useful. Of course, all the kitchen storage that you would normally find. And if you back up just a little bit more, you can see that this settee, there's no wasted space. Under here is food storage. Behind here is dishes. Under here is the water maker, which actually is a Spectra 200T, the most efficient water maker that we could find. And behind there, more dishes. Over here is all of the pumps for the boat, freshwater and bilge, etc. Back there, of course, is alcohol storage, all useful things. And this is a freezer, which actually serves not only as a freezer, but as an extra seat, because we can actually seat 7 people for dinner here when we open up the table. Although we prefer 4 or 6, it's much more comfortable. And if I take you over here to the chart table, we can take a look at some of the things that we've done. Obviously, we have a Xantrax link, which is very useful. We have, of course, all of our iDevices, iPhones, iWatches, iPads charging over here. We have a separate screen if we want to watch some DVDs or computer. We have a remote control for the autopilot here. It's actually on a 20-foot or 30-foot cable, so we could move it anywhere we want. And we added this recently. We found it very useful to have an analog indicator for wind direction and speed. Very helpful. And of course, the single sideband, a separate switch panel for all of the new accessories, including a cell phone booster, which actually is a 5-band booster and is a great help when you're trying to get internet. You've got switches for the chart plotter access from the helm. You've got lights. You've got the stereo, of course, with Bluetooth. Engine alarm. And that actually, I'll show you in a second, is the filter boss. It actually can do full fuel polishing and fuel transfer, as well as it holds 2 Raycor 500 filters, which can be changed while the engine's running. So there's an alarm if there's an issue with that. We also have a satellite dish. Underneath, I'm not going to show you that right this second, but you can take a look at some pictures. We have storage, and behind the storage, there's some more electronics. There's actually the control box for the Iridium Pilot. And that Iridium Pilot gives us internet, what they call high-speed internet access basically anywhere in the world. It also gives us 3 separate phone lines. Not that we want to make 3 calls at the same time, but we have that capability literally anywhere in the world. And continuing over here, these are the phones for the Iridium Pilot. We have a wireless and a wired phone. We have the AIS, which is also a transmitter, which links to the VHF. We have, of course, our iPod to play music. We have Bluetooth access. The VHF, I think I mentioned. If you go look up, that's where we keep our Garmin InReach, which used to be the DeLorme InReach, but is now a Garmin InReach. And we keep it powered. It's extremely low power and very useful because people can access us 24 hours a day and they can see where we are anywhere. Inside here, we've actually put our single sideband and our AT140 antenna tuner. And down below, something that we're kind of proud of, tools. Not that you ever need a tool on the boat, but you have quick access to all of the tools. It's a compartment that we added. We also, of course, have access to all kinds of different things on shelves, tools, food, etc. If you want to move into the forward cabin, this is the main cabin where we sleep. It's an extremely comfortable bed. One of the things we really love about this boat is the springs that are underneath the mattress. They actually air out the mattress very well and they make it extremely comfortable. We sleep very well on board. And if you turn around over here, you'll see a couple of this is one of the least expensive additions we made to the boat. I think it was $20 at Costco, but it gives us weather forecasts. It gives us a very accurate barometric pressure. Right now it's measuring the temperature inside the warm side of the fridge, but it can be, the remote thermostat can be placed outside. We also have a wireless control for the windlass, which we take out when we need it. And of course there is a wired control as a backup, but we don't use that anymore. And if you look right up here, this is the newest edition. This is our 5-band LTE antenna booster. So this gives us access to internet, even if it's 30 to 40 kilometers away, according to the ad. We haven't tried that yet. We'll find out very soon. Inside here, we have all of our clothes storage. Of course, Chantel's cupboard is actually way more organized than mine, but we won't show you mine. For a closer look at the bathroom and the shower area, here, this will give you a little peek at what the shower looks like. Very comfortable. We have a little seat that we use, especially useful when we're underway. Keeps us from moving around and hitting ourselves while we're washing. But of course, we also have a hot and cold shower head on the stern. And in warmer climates, that's our favorite place to take a shower. We usually wait till after dark so we don't freak out the natives. Then we have, of course, the toilet. And we're very happy with this toilet. When we got the boat, it was using fresh water to evacuate the toilet, and we thought that that was a waste of fresh water. On the other hand, it minimizes the maintenance required and well worth the investment. It's a macerator, electric macerator toilet, and it's fantastic. And of course, we have mirrors that we've added to give a little bit more space. If you want to come just over here, you'll see that we also have one of the guest rooms. This one actually has some space for guests. The other one has been turned into a storage space, so we're not going to show that one to you now. But it looks just like this, just in reverse. So, if you look down here, this is in the port cabin. You have access to all of the electrical breakers. Everything on this boat is disconnected from both the negative and the positive side, because obviously on an aluminum boat, the last thing you want is to have any kind of current, positive or negative, on the hull. So it's extremely useful. We've added a few breakers for the water maker, for the fridge and freezer, for the chart plotter. It has its own power source. And of course, some of the boat is labeled in English, some of it labeled in French, but it really helps to be, but we've tried to label everything bilingually so that anyone can sail the boat and figure out how to turn things on and off. And with 8 solar panels and 2 wind generators, Keel has the power to take you just about anywhere.